Hi guys, hope you are doing well. Welcome to the channel. In this video, I will talk about Exchange Online PowerShell. The objective of this episode includes what is Exchange Online PowerShell. We will also talk about PowerShell version 2 module. And we will also learn how we can create a remote PowerShell session with Exchange Online, and we will also prevent or allow users to create a PowerShell session. Now we will talk about what is Exchange Online PowerShell. Exchange Online PowerShell is the administrative interface that enables you to manage your Microsoft Exchange Online organization from the command line. For example, you can use Exchange Online PowerShell to configure mail flow rules or client access rules. We can create a remote PowerShell session to our Exchange Online organization that supports both modern authentication, multi-factor authentication. By default, all accounts you create in Microsoft 365 are allowed to use Exchange Online PowerShell. But administrators can use Exchange Online PowerShell to enable or disable a user's ability to connect to Exchange Online PowerShell. So a question comes up: if all accounts have the access to PowerShell by default, are they also allowed administrative privileges? A key point to keep in mind: access to Exchange Online PowerShell does not give user extra administrative powers in your organization. A user's capabilities in Exchange Online PowerShell are still defined by role-based access and the roles that are assigned to them. So Microsoft has resolved our confusion after this statement. The Exchange Online PowerShell V2 module, which is abbreviated as EXO V2 module, uses modern authentication, and it also works with multi-factor authentication or MFA for connecting to all Exchange related PowerShell environments in Microsoft 365, Exchange Online PowerShell, Security and Compliance PowerShell, and standalone Exchange Online Protection. We can connect to Exchange Online PowerShell using modern authentication with or without MFA. Here is the PowerShell commands which help us to connect with our Exchange Online organization environment. We will practice these commands in our lab exercise. Administrator can also enable or disable access to Exchange Online PowerShell for specific user and many users or list of users. We will practice these commands in our lab exercise. In lab exercise, we will learn or practice how we can connect to Exchange Online PowerShell. We will also learn how we can enable or disable user access to Exchange Online PowerShell. So let's move to our lab exercise session. In the lab exercise session, first we will learn how we can install Exchange Online version 2 modules. I have already opened up the Windows PowerShell ISE run as administrator. In PowerShell window, install the Exchange Online Management by running this command. Select this command and click here. This command will install Exchange Online Management. Click yes to all. Now Exchange Online Management is installing in our system. Now installation has been completed successfully. If you have already installed this module, you can skip this step and run Connect Exchange Online without loading the first module. Now we will connect with our organization Exchange Online by using connect-exchange online command. Here is the command, and I have specified my account who will authenticate with Exchange Online. And show progress parameter specifies whether to show or hide the progress bar of imported commandlets when you connect. Now we want to connect with our organization Exchange Online. We will use connect-exchange online commandlets to establish a connection, remote connection with our Exchange Online. I have already specified my account in UPN format here, and show progress bar will show the bar of imported commandlets when you connect. So this command is for multi-factor authentication if we have enabled a multi-factor authentication on user. So this command will help us to connect with Exchange Online using multi-factor authentication, or without we can also use. So let's select this command and hit the F8 button or click here. Now we have to enter our account password here. I have entered my password for my account and I choose sign in. Now you can see here is a second authentication method which I have used Microsoft Authenticator app. So I have to go my mobile device and approve this request. I have approved this request using Microsoft Authenticator app as a second authentication method. Now this command is creating a PowerShell connection with Exchange Online. Now we have successfully connected with our organization Exchange Online by using PowerShell. Let's talk about the second method. If you are not using multi-factor authentication, you can often use the credentials parameter instead of UPN. Here is the credential parameter and this is a UPN parameter. First we run this command and it will prompt for username and password and stored in this variable, and this variable is specified as a value of credentials parameter. So in this way we can connect with Exchange Online without multi-factor authentication with our organization Exchange Online. Now we will learn how we can enable or disable access to Exchange Online PowerShell for the user. First method we will learn for a specific user. I have a test user, user6 at my domain name. These commands will help us to enable or disable the access. So we have learned in the previous slides, by default user has the access to Exchange Online PowerShell. So if you want to disable, you can disable the access for the specific user using this command. Select this and hit F8 button. Now we can see command has been executed successfully. If you want to disable or enable the access, we can use this command. So now Exchange Online access has been disabled for this user. If you want to re-enable the access, we will use this command with true value. Now hit F8. This command will enable the access to Exchange Online for this test user. We have successfully enabled or disabled the access for specific user. So what if we have a list of specific users? So how we can enable or disable the access for list of users? So for demo purpose, I have created a list of users on this path. Here is my list, which contains a list of users, and each user should be in a new line. Now we will execute the very first command which stores the list of users in this variable. So now first command has been executed successfully. Now we will run this command to disable the access of list of users to Exchange Online. Hit F8. Now a command has been executed successfully. Here is the quick summary of what we have learned in this episode. We have learned what is Exchange Online PowerShell, and we have also learned how we can connect to Exchange Online PowerShell with or without MFA. We have also learned how we can enable or disable access to Exchange Online PowerShell, because we know by default access to Exchange Online PowerShell is allowed to every user in the organization. So administrator can enable or disable the access to Exchange Online PowerShell. We have also performed all these steps in our lab exercise. Feel free to subscribe the channel and share this video with your tech community. Thank you so much, and thanks for your time.